Welcome to episode 147 of Business Growth School for Service Providers. I'm your host Ali Salman, and this podcast is brought to you by Rapid Boost Marketing, online marketing for service providers. In episode 146, we talked about how to decrease website bounce ratio with this simple tweak. Today, in episode 147, we are talking about one of the most important things when it comes to blog post. And guess what? It's not your headline. So, what is the all important ingredient for blog posts? What one thing make them stand out among the rest? What one thing make them relate to your audience? What one thing makes Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Ryan Levitt, any influencer in your industry or any industry you pick up, what are they doing really well in their blog post or a content which is making them so unique, which is making them voice heard everywhere. Now, in this day and age, we get bombarded by so many messages. I mean, you have your phone for distraction, then you're on social media, then you have billboards, advertising. So many things are actually trying to fight for your time and attention. But if you look at a lot of those things miss one very important ingredient, and that is authenticity, being yourself. There's very interesting stat because 43% of millennials, right, this was a study done by Forbes, and they say that they rank authenticity over the content. So that means that maybe the content is much more in depth, but if the brand is not authentic, what does that mean? That if they don't have their own voice and style, no one can relate to them. I mean, you think about Lego as a good example. You think about Dove soap. All of them, they have their own brand and authenticity, right? And that's what they clearly communicate in their content. Because if you're not authentic, then you're copying someone, and if you're copying someone, you are not you. And whenever you copy someone, technically you are unable to basically fill their shoes, because the reason for that is you cannot copy someone. What you have to do is you have to find your own business voice. I mean, if you're a local plumber, HVAC guy, dentist, accountant, end of the day, you're trying to find your own voice which will help you reach out to your ideal customers. Because if you're not authentic, technically, I mean, we know that, there's no question that compelling headlines draw readers in. We know that. Also, we know that quality freebie like a ebook or a valuable information can technically attract the subscribers. But authenticity, that will keep them interested in your work. I'll ask you, the people you follow, the blogs you read, all the things you read, it's authenticity that grows any blog and readership. But usually, website gurus or marketing experts tell us to focus on pop-ups and headlines and opt-ins and things like that. But if you focus on your own voice instead of the style and approach that others have, you will find faster traction. You will find your own unique place in the market, because there is only one you. And no one can replace that, no one can create that. And if you keep chasing other people, let's say you like someone else's style, you like someone else's delivery, yes, you can take best practices from them, but that doesn't mean that you can copy and paste their style, because people like you to be authentic. It's funny, right? You walk to your relative or friends, and if you're not being yourself, let's say you're talking a different accent or you're acting differently, they are unable to relate to you. So if you are not relatable, and the reason you're not relatable is technically that you're not being authentic, you're not being yourself. And that's what you have to bring it out in your business really well. I mean, not every dentist is similar, right? Every dentist have their own personality. Every dentist have their own way of practicing dentistry. Secondly, we let's pick up an accountant, right? Every accountant is a different individual who specializes in different kind of skill set. And that's how you can bring in authenticity in your content out. Because if you're not being authentic, I mean, end of the day, you can have an amazing headline, and you can have an opt-ins, you can have a pop-up, you can have all the bells and whistles you want, but it will not work for you. And the reason for that it will not work for you is because that you are not being yourself, you are not being authentic, and you're trying to basically try to copy or mimic someone. And if you do that, well, guess what? It's not working out. That's 101, like, straight up. Uh, One thing which makes the biggest impact on the readership and the reach of your blog. I'll catch you tomorrow bright and early in episode 148 of Business Growth School for Service Providers. I'm your host, Ali Salman. And this podcast is brought to you by Rapid Boost Marketing, online marketing for local service providers. Have a good day, guys. Make it count. Bye bye.